Okay. Okay. Alrighty. So where we were. So we were saying about time.
I was looking at last week what I wrote down, and it's like everything's present in every moment. Or, I don't even want to use the word moment because that's a time measurement. It's like everything's always there, and it's like you align with what you want to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what creating is pulling what it is you want to align with.
So it sort of puts a whole different tilt on history.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I mean, if you look at history, it's only relevant to who's writing it.
Right. And the story is different to every person. Right.
Right. And I know the Egyptians were famous for every ruler who came up, downplayed everything every other ruler done.
Right.
And rewrite history according to them. And I mean, every time the Bible's translated, it's like, no, we're not going to include these stories, and no, we're going to leave these books out, and we're going to change this to look like this. And
right. So, yeah, but then in a way, though, it sort of makes history all now, doesn't it? Because if we take out the time,
right.
Which then, of course, collapses everything into this moment of why it affects now. Because if we still hold it in some place, some way, shape, or form, in one little, open wound, on the back, right?
Right. Well, and what I immediately heard was, remember when we walked into Canyon de Chelly?
Mm-hmm.
And
I was suffocating. Yeah, with all that.
All the stories, and it was like all that history was relevant all right then.
Mm-hmm.
That nothing had changed.
Well, they had chosen for it to be, right?
Exactly. And then it just seems, I mean, even the and I don't know where I saw this, but history books are being rewritten to downplay the Civil War as to what it really was. And it's like, I have no active recollection of being in that war to know whether what they're saying is correct or what I've been taught is correct. And is there really even a correct or incorrect?
Right.
No, because that's just judgment. So it's like, as long as it's circling the bowl, it's still active.
Yep.
And I guess the old saying is, those that don't learn from history are destined to repeat it. Well, it's almost like change that, and history that's left unhealed, unresolved,
incomplete
is destined
to continue to perpetuate, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which again comes back to making time the tool. That feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
And why would we give ourselves a tool that is limiting instead of freeing? We've just forgotten how to use it as a tool versus using it as a constraint.
It's so myopic, right?
Yeah.
So because time is so only relative to those who agree to measure anything through it, right?
But you're also, when you say that, you're also assuming that there's only well, you're not saying that, but it's like there's only our measurement of time.
Well, that's what I'm saying is
innumerable. It's almost like a different language.
right, because so the reality is, and what we were talking about, just so we have it on the recording too, is another part of the universe, they might not even have time as we define it.
Right.
Right. And they definitely would not have time as we define it. Right.
Unless they had the same rotation of the Earth.
Right. And it's around their whatever. And if that's what they agree to use as their measurement of progression and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So for us to unify the universe, the multiverse again, is for us to be able to see the constructs of measurement we have created in freedom from limitation of it, right? So that's the tool part. Using it as the tool and not the crutch, right? Not being a victim to time, but having time be a part of your tool belt.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so much around that. Just so much.
It also
it's almost like it takes us all back to Lemuria. It's like bam, right there.
Well, and it also, you know, how before we were talking about just being, and that there was no way of, there was no repulsion and attraction and that to give you the movement.
Mm-hmm.
The time was inserted to give us something to, I don't know the right word other than to move against.
Well, it's almost like the amount of separation we wanted to create was so huge that it was just a biteable chunk that we chose to create.
Right. But it's like, I'll do that today or I'll do that tomorrow.
Right.
It's like actions occur based on time.
Yeah, except it's really up to the individual and how they perceive it. Right. So, and for example, another thing that has, that's been coming up. So this has been something that's been coming up regularly for months now, because it's like, it goes back to that book that I was reading about the secret life of trees.
Right.
And how a tree's measurement of time is very different than that of an individual, a person, right?
Right.
Because of its acceptance of, say, for example, and this is okay, so even within the construct of time, right, then you have so you have insects that's entire life cycle is within a day, right?
Right.
And then you have animals that live hundreds of years, right? So, and the trees can live like way long, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? So the importance or urgency to do anything for a tree is much slower than, say, a human who expects, through our programming and what we've programmed ourselves to do, to only live, less than a century.
Right.
Right. So then we have much more, I guess, motivation to get things done, right? Because within those time periods. So that's been something that keeps on coming up, and there's something to shift around it. There's something to shift around.
Which, I texted you yesterday that phrase, today's a good day to die.
Oh, yeah. I meant to bring that up because, what's funny is that what was I just watching where that term kept on coming? Oh, so we watched the new Flatliners last week. Scott and I did. Which, by the way, it was dumb. I can't believe they even redid it, because I love the original movie back in 1990, with Julia Roberts and Kiefer Sutherland and William Baldwin and
right.
Oliver Platt. But so the way it sort of came across is that it was a continuation of the story, because Kiefer Sutherland actually plays a senior doctor in this version of the movie. So we thought maybe they found have you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, you never saw that movie? Oh, okay. So the whole thing is these doctors are interested in what happens when you die. Well,
Right.
it starts with one having this really, and like because of everybody's accounts of like seeing a light, or having this nirvana, or blah blah blah, blah, and they come back. So one of them decides they want to go down and have the other ones bring them back, like in this basement lab thing, and of course they can't let the school know because they're residents and they'll be like expelled, right?
Right.
So the whole thing is, of course, and then as they go, and so anyway, there's this whole serious story. So anyhow, so Scott and I watched Flatliners like a week, the new movie, because we thought it was a continuation. Like maybe they found the old notes from the people before, being that Kiefer Sutherland is an elder doctor now, like where he would be like, oh yeah, guys, don't even play with that because I did. I'll tell you what it was like, But one of the guys in the group, that's what the whole movie starts out with the line, "Today's a good day to die." So it was just interesting that you brought that up, because I was like, wow, that's an interesting thing to come up twice in the past week.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it certainly gives you a sense of fearlessness.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are you afraid of? If your biggest fear is going to happen today, it certainly nullifies everything else.
Yeah, and it goes back to that perception of that I talk about a lot as well. So when somebody gets the diagnosis from the doctor, right, that you've got a week to live, 2 weeks to live, 6 months to live, right? So
it changes everything.
It changes everything, right? Suddenly you're motivated to do things that you were not motivated to do before, whatever that is.
Right.
And so many will go and there are many who go and do their bucket list or whatever, and while they're up and about and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, I talk a lot about that with people, because of the fact that, so okay, I know I've been here and incarnated here a lot of times because I, for some reason, have loved this existence, this experiment, right, that we call Earth, or Lemuria, whatever we want to call it. And many of us who are here now, after that, it's like we're here for the end party, blah, 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 and we've talked about that. And so I've understood from early on with all this is going to be my last iteration this way here. So isn't that pretty much the same thing as saying, well, if I love this existence so much, right, the pain and suffering included that we've created in the separation here, as much as the joy and the bliss and the just the orgasmic stuff that we consider amazing here, then this is sort of like, okay, well, don't forget, you only have 3 weeks to live, you only have this life to live and you're done.
Right.
So why not just be crazy awesome, right?
Right.
Because we don't want to regret. And if it's like, okay, I'm done with the project there, or I'm done with this project at the conclusion of this life, well, then it's like, okay, well, then I will, of course, want to be ready to let go and say, okay, I'm done, whatever, and reassimilate or whatever that's called. So, and that's all time. That's what we consider in time as well, right? Lifetimes, timelines, lifetimes. It was like that whole the experience I had back in, I don't know, 2010-ish, 2011, when I was watching my daughter's choir, and it was a Christmas time, and it was just so amazing, and just it was so literally you could feel. There are very few high school performances you ever attend that you have that feeling, but it was like something opened up,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole thing with Yeshua was over my shoulder, and I was just like, and I remember the thought very distinctly is, I'm going to miss this.
Right.
And he said to me, there's nothing to miss because you can always just come back to this moment.
Right.
Because it's here. We created it. It's always here.
Right.
Or it's always not. It's always in, you know.
Okay. Now that you say that, what comes to me and what I've been envisioning, what I was talking about a minute ago, is everything's there. And it's almost like we created time to be like the filing system.
Yeah.
To be able to reference back to something specific, because everything is all right there right now.
Right.
And that to come from it from a place outside of it is overwhelming. So we created the time to give it structure. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
From the I mean, it really.
Well, time is only one of the ways we gave it structure too.
Right.
Because, you know, this filing cabinet has it done by time. This over here is cross-referenced by blah, blah, blah. And this, you know, by dimension, by this, you know.
Right.
Here we go back to, it's almost like that Akashic record perception of having the massive, you know, multiversal library.
Have to be in one of the file cabinets.
Or that's where the file cabinets reside.
Right. Well, and then of course you go to the Harry Potter with the whole big library with all the little the orbs and the.
Yep. Yep. So, it's so moving. Well, and it's just it brings everything together in a part of me says, well, it muddies everything, right? If we just pull that whole construct out.
Well, and it clarifies some things and brings about all these other questions.
I know.
So it's
Who was that? Was that Charlie or Buster?
Like the dogs are I think Buster's feeling better now, so they're getting all ramped up.
Oh.
Do y'all need to go outside? Don't you knock that over? Let's go outside. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pee anyway. I'll be right back.
All right.
You can. I'll take it. So the question is, what is important for us to see in terms of resolution, or changing, or shifting, or using not necessarily a resolution, but evolving. Remembering.
I was just sitting here, you know, again, I hate using less or or dis or anything like that, but embody timelessness. Remember temporal freedom.
Oh, that's good.
But that still uses time. Remember time as a reference tool.
Yeah, because time is only a very small one, because I'm getting that in other parts of the universe. There are other reference tools that we've created, right?
Right.
As well as dimensions, like I said, dimensions, lifetimes. Now,
I mean, even lifetimes are a measurement.
Yep. Remembering the filing system. It is the multiversal Dewey Decimal System.
I know. I didn't think of the library. What about remember relativity?
Hold on. That's only a very small part of it too, though.
I know. I tell you, I get dizzy when I picture how we've created all these
So what's interesting is I close my eyes and I see this long, those long event tables, right? Like in the castles, right? Like they're really long. We could see whatever, 50 people or 100 people at one table, right? Except it's just so long, and it's like there's so many different representatives at the table, but it all comes together to bring the table together, right? It's almost like all the different colors, to put the rainbow together. And we know, for example, the rainbow is not just the colors that we can see, but they're, by our physical eyes, but there are far more many colors across, right? So time is just a color, just as much as a color is.
And I guess we have the concept. We've discovered the concept. It's answering the question of how do we incorporate that, or how do we integrate that as a tool, or
and what's the important part of the remembrance?
Why does it matter? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe here's a funny. Wow, I'm having some really interesting little visualizations this morning. Maybe it's taking, like, I see time like a washcloth. It's like putting it in the washing machine to wash it out, wring it out, clean it up, and let it be purified, right? Except for what?
That puts it back in its appropriate perspective. Because you know how people feel powerless to time.
Right. And time is only one. It
should be the other way around.
And maybe that's it. Maybe we take all of the filing cabinets and we do the same thing. It's purification and clarity as to the tool and its purpose as a tool, not as a
constraint.
I was going to say a dictating factor on something.
Right.
A dictatorial factor on something.
Right.
Because it is all relative. And relativity, I think, is oh, he looks so much better. Wow.
Doesn't he?
He really does.
Yeah.
And relativity is another tool to clean. It's like taking all the tools of measurement. It's
almost like we're evolving. We're evolving them, which, leads you to believe that it's projecting them forward. But that's time. It's almost like restoring them to their original. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, my stomach just goes. Feel like Jennifer needing to burp.
Yeah. Short belt.
It's restoring it to its original
intended form or something. Yeah.
Or its original structure, or its original
intended use.
Original purpose, yeah. And maybe time is just the example, just like gravity is.
Well,
and
money.
All the things that we just assume.
Yeah, like money, like that's another one, right? Because that's what just came to mind too, is, when somebody's out of time, time is more precious than the bajillions of dollars that they could have,
Well, and that's what that's what the phrase "today's a good day to die."
Yeah.
That's what it does. Is it takes away Actually, it removes a lot of distractions.
Well, it's an acceptance too, right? Yeah, it removes a lot of distractions. It removes a lot of judgment, right?
So what would a term be, that time, gravity, all the limitations we put on ourselves? I mean, would you just call them limitations? Because if we purify all of that and restore it to its original.
Yeah, because they're management tools that have taken over, that we have allowed to take us over, right?
It was just easier.
Yeah.
Because there's too much.
Well, that's what we believe, right?
Right.
Well, and for us to, oh, there's the yawns. For us to come to a place of remembrance that's multiversal in that true divine consciousness form is to be able to see all the tools and opt in or opt out, right? Or you can opt to filter through the tools or not.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You could filter by date or by alphabetical order, first name or last name, or lifetime, or, section of the universe, section of the multiverse, which dimension.
By lesson.
By lesson.
Oh my gosh, it's just endless.
Yeah.
By emotion, by people, by agreements.
Yep. Oh yeah, that made a huge shift. I could feel that.
Yep. And it restores our original position of power.
Yeah.
I could almost not get that out.
Yeah. Remembrance of power. Of that pure divine power. Yep. Which, we still have that misnomer about the word power to begin with.
Well, there's such judgment attached to it, but I don't feel that in the terms we just put it in, that it's like in the purification of all those constraints or assumptions, it restored power to be free of judgment.
Yeah.
Because then it's a natural state.
Oh yeah. There's another filtered by judgment.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's very clean, isn't it?
Well, the cat's here, so we must be close to where we need to be.
It must be about time. Oh, about time. That's funny. Ha ha ha. It must be about there.
And you know what else is built into this? I had a friend text me yesterday about, I really could use some help. When can we get together? And I just have all these things that I'm just so overwhelmed by all that I have to do. And I texted back and I said, yeah, I said, Monday's my day. I do my things. So anytime after that. But remember that if you're telling yourself you don't have enough time, you'll never have enough time. And so we get into the whole thing about time, and we ended up coming all the way back around to trust. So that's something else that needs, we have to restore a sense of trust.
Well, and that's trusting that we're bigger than all of that, that right. We are beyond all of that, and that we're not victims to it. Mm-hmm.
And we trust our power.
Yeah.
To be all powerful, even over the constraints that we've created.
Yeah.
Don't you two get started with that nonsense. Get your bones over there. Bones are over there.
Yeah, it is a big cycle.
Both
of us are yawning now.
Just letting that all kind of settle in. It's like,
Yep. Wow, that's just so huge. All of that.
yeah, but you know, it feels complete. There's no.
Well, it consolidates everything and makes it so easy, right? In completion.
It really. It gets to a basic reset that I don't think we've ever gotten to.
Yeah.
And I love the way you put purify.
Yeah.
Because that.
There's your yin and yang right there.
Over there. Over there. Go get your bone. Go get your bones, guys. Yep. Oh, you go over there. Go on. I'm talking to you. Go over there. Oh, good Buster. He went and got his bone. Look, see, he's got his bone. Go get your bone. And I guess purify, it's almost like not the item itself, but our interpretation of it. Our judgment of it.
And definitions. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm restoring the clarity on the remembrance on what they actually are, which is tools and not
right,
and not dictators in our existence and experiences. Wow. It's like the massive multiversal database, that are remembering that it's, wait, how did I forget I had this tool here to play with? I can just pull all these experiences out like with a click of a button.
That's right. Nope, you go stay with your bone. Got cat wanting in my lap, dogs wanting to fight.
Oh, my cats are out cold. I think they're still recovering. I guess I'm a little depressed. Listen to buddy.
Come on, kitty. Well, I think we've got it.
Yeah, and whatever else around that's important, right?
Yeah, I'm sure details will go up and.
I think it all. It started already anyway. It's probably why I keep on getting little snippets of visions in there. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go then.
All right, let's do it.
Wow, I just shifted my whole perspective on the universe.
Well, I tell you, everything here is inspiring me to keeping me from doing that.
I just kept on seeing, I can't even explain to you what I saw, except it was like movies and stories and all this stuff rewritten in all these different forms, and not really rewritten, unwritten.
I kept seeing everything just like falling into this river, whether it was like a river of water or the ocean or molten lava, you know, whatever. And it all just kept falling in, and the river just kept getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, that's what it's like without these tools.
Yeah, I was actually standing in the center, and it was a big body of water that but it was like it all just became one in that, which was me and not me at the same time. And it was,
in the very beginning, I saw us, and it was like we were water in an ice tray. And then I saw somebody, you know, the old-fashioned ice trays, and somebody put the divider in, and it was like, okay, me and not me.
Right, yeah.
And it was like, so really what we're doing is we're purifying separation.
And not forgetting it at the same time.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm remembering it at the same time, yeah. Allowing it and yet remembering it. Allowing for whatever the purest purpose of it is. There's no words. I can't even give you words to it. It was just.
I can feel it and I can sense it, but yeah.
Because all of it was it was all like this release of energy of like, oh God, that's so easy. Oh, that's so simple.
It's almost like honoring separation.
Without being a victim to it anymore.
Yep.
Yep.
Allowing it to be a tool.
Well, there's that Trinity, right? It's the completion of the unity, wholeness, and duality.
And they each have their own roles and their place and their...
We can choose to be it or choose to not be it.
It's that perfect completion.
It's all within us.
So good.
It's all within us as much as it's outside. Yeah, it's all there. Oh, okay, well, that was lovely. I felt really good. I'm going to pause the recording here. Hold on. After my thing comes